Hello, this is Todd Baginski. I'm a Microsoft MVP and the partner and CTO at Canvas Consulting. In this video, I'm going to take you on a little deep dive of PowerApps functionality. In particular, I'm going to work with the Leave Request PowerApps sample template, and I'm going to show you how you can filter and sort galleries in PowerApps. Before we get into the code, I'd like to take you on a little tour of the Leave Request PowerApps sample template to show you how filtering and sorting is done for data inside a gallery in a PowerApp. After I show you what it looks like, then we'll dive in to see how we built it. So here I have the Leave Request PowerApps sample template open in the PowerApps editor. This is the first page of the app. I'm going to click the preview button to open it up in the run mode here. Now I can log in as employee or a manager, and here I can see my gallery of data of different leave requests I've submitted. Notice that we have them in different statuses. I have one leave request because I stubbed my toe on the couch and that one was declined. Well, I don't blame my manager for declining that one bit. I have another one to take a vacation day on Monday, which was approved, and I have another one for a long weekend to take a day and turn it into a 3-day weekend, which is pending. So as you can see at the top of the gallery, I have a set of controls which allows me to filter these requests. Right now I've clicked on all, so I see declined, approved, and pending in the list. If I click on pending, just like we'd expect, now I just see the pending requests. The same is true for approved requests as well as declined requests. All these requests are also filtered to the current user logged into the app. So how did I go about implementing this functionality? Well, let's dive into the code now and take a closer look. I'm going to close preview mode now in the editor and start diving into the code. The first thing I'd like to show you is the gallery here where all of this information appears. Here we can see when we look at the control on the left side of the page, this is called My Requests Gallery. Notice inside of the items collection for the gallery, we're implementing sorting by the start date column ascending. So that's how we put the sorting into the items in the gallery. That's very simple. But what about the filtering? That's where it gets a little bit more complex. The first thing we do inside of this if expression is run our logical test. Here we're saying if request type filter is all. That's what we're testing on. And if it's true, then we're going to run this filter. If it's false, then we're going to run this filter here. So where did request type filter come from in this case? Request type filter is actually set whenever an item, one of these buttons up here at the top, is clicked on. You can see that in the onSelect method right here. Set request type filter to this item's value. You may be wondering, this item's value, well, what value does a button have? Well, in this case, as you can see here on the left, this is actually a gallery of buttons. This is a really nice way to create a control and give it a consistent look and feel and lay it out across instead of making 4 different buttons in this particular case. So if we take a closer look at this particular gallery, we can see its data comes from Home Banner Button Collect. Heading up to the File menu and looking at the collections, here I can find that collection and I can see that the values are all pending, approved, and declined. So these are the 4 different values that I wish to filter my data on. Now you can also see how we have the text here, all pending, approved, and declined as well. If we look out the layout for this gallery, we can see that we're adding a button and we're tying it to the value there. That value gets associated with the particular button in the gallery, and it's also its text display, as you can see here. So whenever I click one of these items in here, whether it's all, pending, approved, or declined, the same onSelect function fires and sets the request type filter equal to this item.value, which, as we now know, is either when I click on all, it sets it to all. When I click on pending, it sets it to pending. and so on and so forth for approved and declined. So now if we come back to the My Requests gallery, it makes more sense where we got request type filter by clicking on one of the buttons that implements the filtering functionality. So if the request type filter is all, what we're going to do is we're going to filter the data source called leave. And we're going to filter it where the requester column in that data source is equal to myprofile.mail. Well, here's another one we need to go hunt down. Where did my profile come from? My profile is set in the login screen. It's in the onVisible method you see right here. Here's our my profile variable. It comes from Office 365 users connector.myprofile. If I go to the View menu and I pick Data Sources, here I can see the Office 365 users connector that I use to return the profile for the logged in user. We can also see that Leave data source right here. Notice it comes from OneDrive for Business. In this case, this OneDrive for Business connection is attaching to an Excel workbook. The Excel workbook holds all the data for the Leave Request PowerApps sample template. For a deep dive on all the pieces related to Excel and how we get data from there, please see my other video about this app and how we use Excel within it. Inside of the Leave table is all the different items that are going to be appearing inside of the gallery right here in the home page. So we're basically saying here, again, if the request type filter was all, I want you to filter the data coming back from the Leave table inside of the Excel sheet where the requester field is equal to myprofile.mail. To help pull this all together, let's take a look at the data inside of that Excel sheet where this Leave data source is coming from. Here's what the Excel sheet looks like on my OneDrive. You can see here that the Leave requests match up with the ones we see in the app. And here is our requester field where we're running that filter to make sure that the My Profile mail matches up with the value in the requester column. So that's that check right there that says the requester column, this one right here in the Excel sheet, is equal to the current user's email address. Now, in the case where the request type filter is not all, we're going to do something else. We're going to filter that same table again where the requester is equal to the currently logged in user's email address, but we're also going to check the status column and say that the status is equal to the request type filter. As you probably remember, the request type filter can also be set to the values of pending, approved, or declined, depending on which button is clicked on in this gallery at the top. Coming back to our Excel sheet, here we can see that status column with approved, pending, and declined. And so that's how, when we run the app, we can see that the information in it, whenever we click on a column here, is filtered appropriately. You will also notice here that inside of the filtering that's taking place in this gallery, we're always going after the data source in Excel to get ourselves the most latest version of the data. If you have data that you do not expect to change during the course of somebody running the Power App, you could create an internal collection based on the data you retrieve from a connector and then filter on that as well. As I mentioned at the beginning, after we've set the data source to the filtered value of the data inside of the Leave collection coming out of the Excel sheet, then we apply the sort operation, and we're sorting by start date ascending. So where did start date come from? Well, again, that's one of the columns back here, right here, in column C. In this case, they all happen to have the same exact sample value. Oh, pardon me, they don't. This one is the 23rd, and that's why the order appears as we come back here and look at it inside of the Power App. When we select all items, I stub my toe on the couch is on the 23rd, and the others start on the 28th, and they are indeed sorted in ascending order. So that's how you can go about sorting and filtering data in a Power App. I hope this video comes in helpful for you, as well as the Leave Request sample Power App template. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you next time.